We are two bald guys and
Mike.
Welcome in. This is episode number two. And of course, today is all about you don't know what you want.
you don't even know what you need.
You don't. And here's the beautiful thing. We're here to tell you. No, we're not. That's not what we do.
I know what you need, and
I know
doggone it, you're going to
exactly
listen to
what
me.
Right. So welcome in, guys. Good week.
Very
Yeah.
good week.
Got in the gym a couple times. We some people saw us, me and you mid-training, me mid-workout, you coming in cold.
Came in. I got my whole workout in, though. I moved 42,000 pounds today. That's
All right.
that's my record for the year.
Your dump truck.
4 or 5 days
Yeah.
in.
42,000.
Well, I record all of the weights that I move, no matter what exercise it is, and then add it up and look at the cumulative weight of the day, 42,000 pounds in 30 minutes. So,
That's impressive.
I should try that one.
and that was just me walking.
Too much work. Yeah, that's too much work. So, all right, this show all about how to help people move forward. They don't even know that they're not moving forward, right? And give some ideas. Of course, have a little fun through it and edutain people as we can. The cool thing is we come out of, and a lot of shows on 21.6 The Net this past week talked about resolutions and goal setting and things like that, guys. And here we are already. This is Friday the 7th, and we're 7 days in. And how many people have already failed their resolutions or given up on them?
It's snowing out today, and so a good visual for this being stuck is I'm sure it's happened to almost every driver who drives in the north anywhere. You get in a little bit too much snow, and the wheels start spinning. And what do they do immediately? Put the floor down. If I give it more gas, I'll get out of here. And we just spin out. But the truth is, all you got to do is slow down a little bit, let the car get traction, and let yourself move out.
Hey, good evening, Gary. Really good morning. Of course, it's 7 a.m. where you're at. Of course, there's no snow in Singapore, but welcome in. I don't know.
Hey, Gary, how are you?
It's pre-recorded. I have no idea if he's there or not.
You'll be there.
Just a shout out to Gary.
Gary's always there.
That is it. So why is it important? You guys, Mike, you are a trainer, a personal trainer, mentally, physically, nutrition, all that good stuff. But why is it that you feel that people don't even know what they want? Heck, they don't even know what they need.
Well, when I'm doing this in the fitness world, I see people come and go all the time. I mean, this is prime time for it, because everybody makes their New Year's resolutions and they start and quickly stop. But I mean, this happens, throughout the year. It's all, people all over the place. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were talking a little bit this morning in that I show up to the gym, or I create a goal, and then I see Coach over here doing this incredible exercise, and I'm like, I'm gonna do that. I don't even know what it does, or if my body needs it.
Sure.
We talked a little bit about it. Coach, you and I have talked about it in the past. Is I played college basketball. I had a much different build then than I do now. Right?
You look less like a basketball then?
Well, and so it was always easier for me to add a couple inches to my chest and shoulders than it was to lose weight. So people are like, you play basketball, you look like a football player, but a lot of my workout was that way. Was I didn't know what I needed to stay healthy. I was just like, let me just hit the weights as heavy as I can because I want to be like, Hulk Hogan or whatever.
Right. Well, if you notice back in the 90s, Jordan, all of them started bulking up. They got in the gym room and everything up here. When you look at the great basketball players today, they're not bulky anymore. They've got into the high repetition, low weights. They're toned, they're strong, their endurance is super high. But it's a change of thinking. You don't need to look like Hulk. You need to look like a basketball player.
Yeah. Right. So as we do that, how do you find out what you want? How do you find out what you need?
That's a hard question, isn't it?
That's why I asked.
Who's going to answer that? So hopefully somebody.
Anybody
can
out
come on the
there?
show and answer.
Yeah.
It's when we're recording a show, it's got to be one of us guys. It's
That's right. Yeah.
On the things that you want. I mean, we think we know what we want. I want a pizza tonight. I want tacos. I want a nice car. We think we know what we want, but what we really need, we normally have to get an outside opinion on.
Yeah. Right. I mean, doctor, the optician says you need a better prescription.
You're like, what?
Right. And then I question all the time. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Some days it's good, some days it's not. But but the idea is usually it's somebody from the outside of your life going, you need to straighten up. You need to shut up, Kent, and sit down. Right. What I want to do is I want to talk and disrupt class. I'm good at that. We were talking in the green room, and you're like, people got to find their why.
Their why. And you were like, oh, everybody knows
Everybody
their
knows
why.
their why.
No, they don't.
Sure.
I highly disagree.
Why?
You don't know your why? Why not? Because people, I want to lose weight. But they don't lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't know their why. Then they have an episode, they go to the doctor and it's like, hey, this happened, doc. And the doctor says, well, son, you need to lose some weight. Now all of a sudden they got their why, because the doctor says, you're pre-diabetic, you're going to do this is going to happen to you, you're going to die young. Now they've got a why. Before they didn't know their why. They wanted something. I want to lose weight. Why? Well, because my pants are too tight, or because this, because that. But they just wanted it. They didn't really have a why. The doctor, the outside influence, gave them their why, because if you don't, you're going to die. Well, you're going to die anyway.
Right.
I hate to break it to you, but sooner than you planned on.
What's your take?
My take is who goes to the gym and goes to work out and admits that it's because they want to have sex or they want to be with somebody, you know what I mean, or that kind of thing. And so right.
Is that a thing?
Is that a real thing? Is that a why?
Right.
I mean, so like if I sit down with somebody usually and I talk to them and I say, why do you want to come in here? And they'll say something like, I want to lose weight. Well, no, you don't. That's not your why. That's not what you want to get. And then we'll go a little bit further, and maybe it's to be.
So they don't know their why.
They don't know their why.
Okay, good.
Maybe it'll be to be healthier, to be, to be stronger, to be whatever. Okay. So the losing weight is just a means to be able to get healthier. But is that the why? There's always something deeper. The root system goes deeper and deeper, deeper. There's always something linked. And so the deeper you get to the truth, then the stronger that root becomes, because until you get there, it doesn't really matter. I mean, most of those things along the way.
But you're not telling them their why.
I'm not telling them.
You're not telling them their why.
No, you got to find your own why.
So they know their why.
They don't know it. They got to find it. Maybe they do.
Is it under a rock? I mean, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
You see
there.
what I'm saying?
Right.
You know your why. You just
Right.
you choose not to listen to it or accept that that's your why.
Right. And so
Okay.
the point that I meant about going to the gym to have sex is it's not to, to go to the gym and find
At the
somebody
gym.
or whatever. But the idea is most of us, like deep down, we're, if we want intimacy, we want, we feel lonely, we want to be with somebody. So, all along the way, these reasons that we don't really kind of follow through with, somehow it winds up to, I'm going to go work out. Because if I work out, now I'm gonna lose weight, and then I'm gonna look better, and then all these things are gonna happen. But we're not really acknowledging that chain. It's just kind of, I want to work out so I can lose weight, but I don't really attach it to the real reason why I want to do that.
I was at the gym.
And just for those people out there who are visualizing this on social media, the camera does add a couple 100 pounds
At least.
from the side angle, takes it away
Yeah.
from the front angle.
He actually outweighs both of us by 30 pounds.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that it's the right reason either. I'm not saying that it's a good reason to be.
Notice how
thinking
he
that way.
just ignored us.
I'm
on
not-
this?
I'm not-
That's good. I like it.
Because I don't want to be like promoting. Okay, the reason why you work
Yeah.
out is so that you can look better and all that stuff. But deep down inside, those are the kinds of reasons that we have that we don't acknowledge.
But
Right.
but isn't we're going on a cruise and we're going to be on some beaches, so I want to get my swimming suit
I'm
in
gonna
shape.
get married. I want to get into that
I
dress.
want to get into the tuxedo. I want to do this. But then when you get to that point,
Then you're done.
then you're done, and the weight comes right back on because, well, you stop doing. I spent 21 years in the Army, and I had to take a physical fitness test every day or every year. I had to step on the scale, and I had to be within certain standards. And when I retired, it's like to heck with this. That was a pain in the butt for, 21 years. And there was some other things going on. I battled with these headaches and they fed me steroids, and all of a sudden the weight blossomed up. And I thought, well, I can get back to my infantry weight in no time. And every time I would start going down, I would get sidetracked or I would get up, but I didn't have
You should have
really,
said in some time, not in no time.
I didn't have my permanent why. I didn't know why, because I always felt good. I was always able to continue doing the activities I want at the weight I was, at the weight I am. Now I'm getting, and no, I have not heard from a doctor that I'm going to die. I haven't heard that.
Well, you have, but
Well,
not. I mean, we all die.
we all die.
We made that.
But the point is, I've gotten down to the really focused. I biked over 1,700 miles this summer.
Mhm.
I've really
Why?
taken, because I love biking. My knees won't take the pounding of the basketball
Oh,
court
the
anymore.
Lord knows that.
So it's a way of me to build my cardio up to get ready for the next level, which is where I'm at now.
Why?
Why not?
So that's what I mean. We all know our why. We choose to either ignore it or not address it. It's like the elephant in the room. Here it is, and we'll just ignore it. Right? I know it's there. I know, and there's all these books. There's all these gurus. There's all these things out there to help you uncover your why, and that's all well and good. The bottom line is, y'all don't do it. I don't do it. You don't do it. You might do it, right?
We don't stick to it. We might start it,
Right.
but then we don't stick to it.
Yeah, you uncover it. Then it's like listening to, now for some of you young kids out there, there are these things that are called albums. They're coming back into play. They're vinyl. It's like you would grab your favorite album, put it on the player, listen to it a couple times, put it back, and on the shelf it goes. And all of a sudden, a few months later, you go, oh yeah, I got this. I want to listen to that again, right? So it very much self-improvement, and the reason that we do things, I think, are that way. We talked a lot this week about procrastination, right?
Yes.
And
Is procrastination a thing?
and you guys were like, oh, people, they'll procrastinate, and I say I don't procrastinate at all. I'm a clutch player. I wait till it's the last few minutes so that I can show up and win the game, right? And basically, what you want is at the beginning of the process. What you need is at the end of the process. So when the doctor says you need to do this or you will die, you go, whoop, time to play, right?
But what if the game has gotten out of hand before the last second shot? If you're down by 30 and you make a 40-footer with the buzzer going off.
Never. I never was in my driveway going, all right, I'm down by 40, 3 seconds. Oh, you got fouled.
He
They
just
lose
made
by
a
30
40-second shot off the
Right.
rims, through the
Right.
rafters.
So the urgency of understanding why you're doing something isn't there until the end. Until the due date. That's why a lot of people, if you take a look at my goals, that's why there's dates, right? It puts that urgency on, right? And then when does it happen? You put the date that it happened. Hopefully you beat that date, or you met that date, or whatever the case may be. And with people don't hit their resolutions because it's just a wish list. It's much like praying in church. Oh, and I pray for Bobby, hope that he gets well, and I pray for Sue that she gets that job. And it's a grocery list, and God's up there going, I don't care what you're getting at the grocery store. Right. So the idea is, I think there isn't procrastination. We don't have the urgency. If we put the same urgency as we do, you're going for your master's degree right now in psychology. How many papers do you finish on the last minute and hand it in at midnight?
I'll have to go back and look and see how many submitted at 11:59.
Right.
Yeah.
But we all do that. And the reason is because the urgency is there now. If we had the same urgency on day one for changing ourselves, or day one of finding our why, as we do on the last day, man, what a difference.
You just brought back to mind a class I was on where 5 people had to present every week. And I rolled the dice and said, no, I'm not going to present this week. And so I didn't finish a paper and I didn't get called on. And in the next week, there's the next 5 out of 20. I'm like, nah, he's not going to call on me this week. And I rolled the dice again. I didn't do the paper. I'm like, yeah, he's probably going to call on me this week, but my life got super busy and I didn't get it done. So now I'm back there going, don't call on me. And he didn't call on me. But the next week, I knew it had to get done and the urgency was over the top.
Yeah.
But it's, we have a tendency to wait. Well, I don't need to do that. I don't need to exercise right now because I just don't have time.
Right.
I'm too busy. There's too many things in my life. Exercise will just have to wait. It's not that important.
Right.
So how successful have you been in your life with hitting resolutions or goals?
Most all of my life, I wasn't at all. And that's what drove me into, reading so much about this kind of stuff and trying to find out more about it. Cause I'm like, why don't I set all these goals all the damn time and I don't hit any of them.
Right.
Why do I start off for a little while? I go strong, I go all in, and then I'm fizzling out. And it's not like I don't want the stuff, that I want all these, fancy goals that I put down, but I want them, but then I don't go through it though.
Yeah. How about you? You've been on public stages speaking to people on how to do this. How good is the master?
There are times when I hit them, but I find out if I don't write down goals, I don't have to miss them. There's some silly truth to that, but one of my goals was to write a book. And so I'd start and I'd write a little bit and then I'd write a little bit more, and it just kept dragging out. Then a friend of mine got his book published before I did. And now it's like, oh, doggone it. He brought the competitive nature out. And within a month I published my book. And it's just, when we set the goals, there's 2 important pieces of that. Number one is making sure they're things that we actually can do. And if I had a goal to be an NBA basketball player today, I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen.
It's going to be tough.
It would be a little questionable. I might make it. I'm like 1 in a million chance, but there's a chance. But is to bring someone else into the picture. Hey, Kent, I'd like to show you my goals, and I'd like, if you would you help me stick to these? And when we do that, and you say, hey, Tim, coach, how you doing with that? I'm like, oh, I'm doing okay.
No, Mike, I zoned out there a little bit, to be honest with you. Did he answer the question? Or did he politic that all the way around the question?
I don't remember anything definitive, but there was some good information.
I have had some, but not 100% good success with goals when I write them down, when I put dates.
And you have accountability.
And there's accountability there, especially if I tell the redhead. It's I'm going to do this. She makes sure I do that.
So you, Mike, have worked on optimal minimization. I had to write it down because he screwed me up. He's like, yeah, that's why I said minimal optimization. So I wrote down minimal optimization. I don't think that's right. So you're working on a program called Optimal Minimization.
Right.
And where do goals fit in with this program or this content that you're creating?
So kind of the idea, the core idea of this is that with each thing we want in our life, there's one, right? We have a why for something. And so there's a solution to solve that problem. And so everything else that we do in the chain is just kind of a means to that end. And so, right, if we could get rid of all the means, we would go right to the solution. Like for working out, for example, right? Working out is a means to lose weight, is a means to, look better, is a means to find a significant other, right? That's how we see it in our head kind of thing. So all this stuff is a means, when really I don't want to feel lonely anymore, right? So I want that significant other. So the solution is to find that person, right? Is to find that significant other, but I'm finding all the means to be able to do that. So the idea of optimal minimization is to say, what are the means that I'm using to get to that solution? Do I need all these things that I'm actually doing? And how do I take the fewest amount of things to get that solution? And part of that is knowing what I need in the first place or what I really want. So that's the idea behind it.
Nice.
How do you help someone figure out what they really need or want?
Or their why.
Or their why.
That's a process.
So they do have to figure out their why. So they don't know their why.
Yep. And starting with where I'm at. That's a big one. Inventory, right?
Okay.
Inventory is that first step.
Yeah. Again, I would say that they do know their why. They just choose not to see it or acknowledge it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which one of us are you agreeing with here?
See, isn't that such a two-edged sword?
It is.
Because if you know it deep down inside, but you don't consciously know it, what does it?
Do you
does
know
Does
it?
it matter? Do you know it? So you know it in your heart, but if you don't know it in your head,
Right.
do you
Does
know
the
it?
tree that falls in
So-
the woods make a noise? if nobody's
Exactly.
around?
Exactly. So
They create sound waves, but they're not interpreted unless a human being or an animal is there to interpret them.
So God can't hear. Interesting. Okay, that's a whole different. Maybe that's a whole different episode. So, all right. So inventory, and I'm okay with that, Coach. You call it. You and I have worked on reboot, and now we've come up with a little bit less of a program. Well, not really a program, but when you're drowning, you're going to grab a life raft, right? And RAFT is an acronym that we'll get into, but the R stands for recognize. And as we were talking about this topic, you said, I can't get out of recognize for this.
Right.
Why?
Because I still don't think people recognize the urgency. They don't recognize it's right in front of them, but they don't see it because they're so busy. There's so many distractions going on. We got this. Now we got a watch that tells us, we're living the land of Dick Tracy. I'm not checking the time. I'm seeing what my wife just texted me, right? We're
Checking your heart Right? Everything's on that watch. I don't have a smartwatch.
Well, you're not that smart, so it's okay. We're so distracted that taking inventory is just not on our radar. Right? We have to slow down. We have to step away. One of the daily topics is, have you stepped away from social media, your distractions, for a minimum of 30 minutes? Do you know how many times I've lost my phone in the past few weeks of doing this? All right, I'm going to leave my phone. And now I'm like, where's my phone? Well, the good news is all I have to do is go like this, and now I can find my phone.
And of course, for all of you out there that are joining us on social media, we hope that half hour isn't during two
bald guys and
George, Mike,
whoever. One word.
one word. It's one word. But it comes
Right.
down to recognizing the need. It's right in front of us, but what is the thing? I can't see the trees because of the forest. And we can't find our need because we're not looking for it. We're responding to this email. We're focused on that text. We're taking the kids to practice. We're doing this, and we're not taking the time I like what you said about taking inventory of our own self.
Listen, everybody, a lot of people, not everybody. So a lot of people have worked retail in some point in their life, right? Part-time job, whatever, right? And what was the oh God, I absolutely hate, we've got to do inventory, right?
Yeah.
It's the easiest job in the world. What did you do? You stood in
1,
front of a hook and
2,
counted whatever was
3.
on the hook. Like, yeah, I got 17 screws. There was really, it wasn't hard.
Nobody licks their pencil.
Right? I do
That was a long time
That was a
ago
long
when you
time
took
ago.
inventory.
But literally you hated it because it took all night or whatever. You're like, all right, man, lock the doors. We're staying here until everything's counted. Right. And this was a way before, computers and little
barcodes
and robots that rolled down the aisle and things like that. But the idea is you hated it. Why? It was the easiest thing to do, but you hated it.
And you normally got free pizza when you did
Usually,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So when you brought that up, that you take inventory, and I don't know if everything we have is a distraction as much as an excuse to I can't work on inventory night.
COVID.
Yeah.
COVID.
Right? Because inventory now becomes your truth.
Yeah.
And I don't want to face the truth. right? The new house that Alice and I moved into here a few weeks ago, all the closets have mirrors on them.
In the closet. Oh, on the outside.
On the outside, all the closet doors have mirrors.
Mhm.
Upstairs, downstairs, bedrooms, bathrooms, whatever. So if you didn't think that you were fat, your whole house is telling you that in every room now, right? And now what could I do? Take down all the doors, right?
Great solution.
I'm not going to do that, right? But the bottom line is that's what gets me up in the morning. That's one of my goals. I work out with Mike. He pushes me 2 days a week. I want to find 2 other days during the week that I do it myself, right? And those mirrors are reminders of me. I have to take inventory, like, ugh.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fattest one of all?
That's right. And I knew I had a problem when the boxer briefs became bikinis.
Ow.
You're welcome out there for that visualization, everybody. But I just think about a fat guy like that, Chris Farley. Never mind. All right. So
Big guy in a little
inventory, and the reason that it's hard and is that number one, we think is going to take a long time, but it's the truth. Now I have to face the truth, and I don't want to be true to myself.
Mhm.
Right. I have a goal, a weight goal that I want to hit by the end of the year. And I can see what I look like in that weight goal. As I walk by the mirror, I don't see that. That's the truth. I don't want to face the truth.
Yeah.
It's like that movie. You can't handle the truth. You're right. I can't. And I don't want to. And that's what inventory does, I think. But I think what you guys are saying too is not sit down for hours every day and start writing stuff down on how bad your life sucks and whatever, right? I mean, that part of optimal minimization is your identity, right. Part of that. And Coach, you referred to it as self-reflection and remove some distractions.
Yep.
Right. So if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to take inventory, if I'm going to self-reflect, what kind of exercise is that? Is that am I sitting down for 2 hours? Am I, listen, we all have time to watch TikTok for 3 hours a day, power watch Netflix or whatever, sit on Instagram, whatever for hours a day, but we don't have, how many minutes would you say to take this inventory or self-reflect? On a weekly basis? Let's just go weekly.
Well, on a daily basis.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I think taking inventory at the end of the day on, did I do the activities to achieve the goals I want to do? What did I accomplish? What did I not accomplish? There's things that we can do in the beginning of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I heard somebody said that, if I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is thank God for, a good night's sleep and a beautiful day in front of me. I spend a lot of time in gratitude. When I do my praying at the end of the day, I'm apologizing for all the stupid stuff I did throughout the course of the day. And I think when we take that inventory, we can look back and say, this is what I planned on doing today, but this didn't get done. Now we go into our inventory. Why didn't I get this done? And is it a reason or is it an excuse? Mm-hmm. Did you use the reason as an excuse? And if we take that daily inventory at the end of the day, I think that'll make a big difference in how we.
So what's that? 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour?
I don't think it's any more than 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay. What's your take on that?
So I'll speak for all the ADHD people out there who want to have a daily routine or something and then can't stick to it, I think it's, for me, and I found it's a process of trying to do it, become aware of it, and think of it daily, but to do it at a point where, what are my thoughts? What are my, my giftings? What am I, everything that I'm doing. Here's an example of how I see it. If you've ever gone into a hoarder's house And you ever watch it? yeah. You ever see that show on TV, right?
Yeah.
Some of them, they just go in and they burn the
Ugh,
place
man.
down because it's so terrible.
Right.
But most of them aren't like that. And I knew a hoarder, and we went out into clean a garage one time, and it was just a mess of shit, and newspapers and rat feces and stuff, all kinds of junk everywhere. But in there, you found some really good stuff that they had no idea that was in there. I mean, really nice, DeWalt tools, this big, this couple $1,000 snow blower, all this stuff in there that was, just
Buried.
buried under stuff. And I think that's how it becomes in our life, and to start looking for those things and sorting through the stuff and becoming aware of, what do I have and what am I doing? And do I need this stuff? Do I want this stuff? And what's valuable in here?
That's amazing.
That is, I don't know if you guys know, but 100% of scientists agree that alcohol is a solution.
There you go.
And that brings us right to the tip from the trainer. So as we get into every show, we want Mike to give us a tip from the trainer on something that we can do to make our week better.
Really, I just gave you all my good tips. I'm out.
You're fresh out.
That was it.
Just the tip, Mike.
That was
Just the tip.
That was the tip of the iceberg.
That's right.
just the one tip. For if it's a physical fitness thing, assess why you're wanting to do what you're doing.
Awesome.
The means to what you're trying to accomplish, and consider that and ask yourself why.
With honesty. Assess with honesty.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the truth, we run from the truth. That's why we've created the habits that we've created. But to, assess with honesty and just go, all right, here's the real deal.
Right.
All right. And the first step of any journey is just that.
First step.
First step.
Can't take the second without taking the first.
Which is great because you're listening to
Two ball guys and
Mike.
one word.
right here, 21.6 and out, of course. And we're talking about how you don't know what you want. Heck, you don't even know what you need, right? And what we've kind of peeled back during this episode is the idea that we do know what we want,
Or do we?
and we do know our why,
Or do we?
and we don't necessarily procrastinate.
Or do we? Just keep loading them up there.
Right. So, but here's what we do know for sure is that at this point in your life, you've either decided to skip a turn, move forward, or move backwards.
We playing Uno?
Right? No, that would be a reverse. So you've decided to either you skip a turn, move forward, or move backwards, and you're not willing to tell yourself that you've done that.
Yeah.
Right? There's a visual that I'm going to use, and when I say you don't know what you want, you don't even know what you need, is we've all many people have been through a major airport, and there's sections of the airport where there's an escalator, a flat escalator that just moves you, right? You don't even have to walk, but it moves you forward. Right. Most of the people that I know and help are on that escalator. They think they're moving forward, but they're not doing anything.
Wow.
Life just keeps going by them.
Right.
And where they think that they're moving forward on this escalator or moving sidewalk or whatever, it's you remember the old little game you'd hold in your hand and you'd have the steering wheel here and the road rolled like this and you had to steer the car on a little piece. Remember that?
Yeah, that was right after the football one.
Right. Is that's what's happening. Everything's moving around you. You think you're moving forward, but everything is moving around you because you've lied to yourself. You haven't taken that inventory. You haven't taken a minute. And when you talk about optimal minimization, it's not taking an hour a day. It's not even maybe taking an hour a week. You might be able to figure this out in a couple minutes a day. You might be able to figure this out, but that minute might become an hour. That hour might become 2. But you can't be afraid of that, right? So what I think and what I see and what I hope for people as they tune in to
Two bald guys and
that you'll realize that, you know what, I have to jump off the moving sidewalk and I have to put some effort into this, because we've gotten to a lot of places that we've gotten without any effort. We've allowed society to tell us what we want.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And it isn't until an outside source goes, this is what you need. You take a look. If you don't work for yourself, your boss tells you what you need or you're fired.
Yeah.
But I want this job. Here's what you need to do
Mhm.
or you're gone. Right. And then there's urgency behind
was
it.
he looking at me when he said that?
Yeah. Right. He used to be bald, folks. It ruins the whole thing. Anyway.
I identify as a bald guy.
Yeah. So the idea, I think, is once we take inventory and self-reflect, correct me if I'm wrong, I know you will,
No problem there.
is we've allowed society and somebody else's idea of what my life should be tell us what we want.
Well, and I think it even there's another piece. Our self-talk, and you and I have gone over this for years. Our self-talk has gotten to the point where instead of, what was it, Stuart Little? I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me, has changed into I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, and doggone it, people don't like me.
Yeah.
And we go through life in this place of conflict. Stuart Smalley, that's it. Well, he's little. Stuart Little.
Yeah.
But the point is, regardless of the name, is we've talked ourselves out of it internally. That's work. Oh, I don't like to be sweaty. Right? I'll never forget my first basketball team, girls basketball team. After their third set of lines, I have a girl standing there looking at her arms like this. I go, "What's wrong?" She goes, "I'm glistening." Right? We don't want to glisten. We just want to we want to take a pill. We want to drink a drink. We want to do something that is going to take the stuff away. The miracle fruit that will take your tummy fat and melt it.
Right.
We want to, and there's no shortcuts.
What was that fruit again?
It's an apple that identifies as a pear.
That's right.
Well,
Nice pear. I mean, are you going there too? I mean, is that what you're saying? What's your take on that?
I think we're like a jar. When you take the lid off it, you put it under water, and the jar fills up. We're always going to be filled up with something, and so if we don't know what we want to fill ourselves up with, we're naturally going to be filled up with the stuff around us. That's just what's going to happen.
It's huge. Yeah.
anytime you
Say that again. That's
yeah.
good.
So we're like that underwater jar. You take the lid off, and everything goes in. So if we don't decide what we want to fill our jar with, it's going to be filled from the outside. It's going to be determined for us.
So what you're saying is keep the lid on.
Keep that.
Not necessarily.
Maybe in some cases.
Fill it with what you should. Yeah, in
Yeah.
some cases, right? And that's cool, and that's a neat visual that I wouldn't have thought of that. And that's what I'm saying is we think we know what we want in there, but it's just like, here, this is what's coming in: clean water, dirty water, whatever whiskey, whatever it is, you're dunking it in, right? So good luck with that.
Right.
I mean, that's a crazy thought, but a great way to put it. And that, to me, that's yeah. And then I think, well, this is what I got. So this is what I want.
Yeah.
And of course, marketing, advertising, everything out there tells you as well, hey, keep up with the Joneses, do this, do that, bigger, better. And really, you may just want a little cabin off grid.
So growing up and the keeping up with the Joneses thing, did you everybody's trying to keep up with me? I'm that cool.
Trust me, I always say you don't got to move too fast to catch us. Trust me, it is what it is.
Those Joneses.
So as we're kind of rolling into the last 6 minutes of this episode, of course, you don't know what you want. You don't even know what you need. Your life has become that mason jar that you dump underwater, and you got no choice. I mean, you're in a pond. I would say a pond. It may look beautiful from the outside. You drop that jar in there, you don't know what's coming in there, and you got no choice. unless you are able to take some time to take some inventory and find and understand your why, right?
So what's our challenge that we're putting out to our those who are caught in the net with us tonight?
Yeah, I think every show we want to. I don't know if it's a challenge or hey, if you want to get better or you want to move forward, if you want to fill your own jar, it's going to take some work. And I think what we need to do is say, here's one thing to take a look at. Here's one thing to work on, going forward. So, what would you say that is, Mike?
For my idea is to question everything over the next week, everything that you're doing. In fact, I want to do this too. I want to go through in every activity as much as I can and question, why am I doing this? And it doesn't mean that it's right or wrong or bad or whatever. Just to really ask what is the purpose in what I'm doing? What is the outcome I expect from this? Just to question everything and see what kind of answers I get.
So question, take time, whether it's in the moment or whether you're reflecting on the day. Okay, why did I eat that cookie? Why did I drink that case of beer? Why did I,
Well, I don't know if you've been around us very long, but he questions everything I do.
I do. Scratch my head a lot too.
And I'm so kind to him. I mean, and it just,
yes. And of course, you say, do this over the next week and we'll start to see some results. Question, take every day, just take some time, question, ask yourself why. And you're saying to do what over the next week?
as you question them, get out a pen and a pad, a paper,
a little notebook,
some
or
way
something.
of recording your thoughts, because if you question it, why did I do that? Oh, that's why I did that. It's gone.
Gone.
If you don't take a moment and write it down,
Yeah.
and I prefer writing it down because it incorporates more your senses, your sight, your touch, your smell. Typing it in a electronic device stores the information, but I think you engage more of yourself and getting connected with what you're doing. So as you question your what you're doing, write it down on a piece of paper. Both a positive and negative. Why am I doing that? Why am I getting flowers for my wife? Well, because I don't want to work out in the gym to get sex. Right? But why are you doing it? And write those down. Take a few notes and go back and review them. Don't just write them down. Go back and review them and really say, is that the truth? Is that real? And then out of that, you'll be able to start building the program that you want or that you need.
Or that you need. Yeah. I think those are two great ideas. And what we'll do is if you want to stop getting filled up with things out of your control, if you want to get off of that moving sidewalk, take some time and take a little inventory. Why am I doing this? Why did I do that? Why? Self-reflect and, get rid of some distractions,
Yep.
right? I don't care if you write it on an iPad. I don't care if you write it on the wall, a whiteboard, whatever, but take some time, remove those distractions and make that happen. And I think that's a win for episode 2. I think that's a big win.
You know what WIN stands for?
I don't.
What's important now? WIN.
There you go.
Lou Holtz made it famous way before I did.
There you go. Now, next episode.
Next episode. Episode number 3
is a big one, and we're going to be covering. Are you ready?
Are you ready?
What makes a good why?
Why?
You may know your why. You may not. You may uncover it. But what makes a good why?
How do you get down to the real why? We're going to talk about a little root cause analysis.
I say an in-ground pool and a nice gymnasium. That's a good why.
That's a why.
That's a why.
Happy wife, happy life. There's a why.
There's a why. All right, Pravus here, 21/6 Net. Thanks for getting caught in the net with us. This has been another episode of
Two Bald Guys, and
thanks, folks. Be good to each other.
God bless. Travel safe. Now get off the bench and get back in the game.